Welcome to another episode of The Hub on Vital MX, your one-stop shop for motocross news from around the world. Although it has not been an especially busy week in either Pro Motocross or the FIM Motocross World Championship, there is still a lot for us to get into, and so it is likely that you will learn a thing or two over the next 7 minutes. Let's get straight into it. First off, Chance Hymas was the big winner at Redbud and should have gained ground in the championship standings. Instead, no progress was made in the points. Why? He was penalised 5 championship points for jumping on a red cross flag. Speaking in an official Honda statement, Hymas said this: "I could kind of see it as I was coming into the corner, but what confused me is it was not on the lip of the jump. That threw me off. Honestly, I should have just rolled it for precaution." Deegan remains 42 points clear of Hymas in the championship standings, with Tom Vial 1 point further behind. Exactly the landscape heading into Redbud as well. What's been happening in the SuperMotocross Championship standings? The playoffs are moving ever closer, and there has been movement inside of the top 20 in both classes. Chase Sexton now leads the 450 SMX Championship standings. He, of course, passed Jet, who was inactive this past weekend. Aaron Plessinger has moved past Justin Barsha and into 6th place, and Malcolm Stewart has passed Cooper Webb for 8th. Regarding the top 20 bracket, Grant Harlan has moved into that top 20 space after a very strong Redbud. There has been less movement in 250 SMX. Ryder DiFrancesco entered 10th, passing RJ Hampshire, and Casey Cochran made the significant jump from 24th to 18th, knocking Joey Savacci out of the top 20. Savacci moved into the top 20 at Southwick and then lost the position in Redbud as he withdrew from the action prematurely. Savacci went down hard in Moto 1, tweaked his neck, and therefore sat Moto 2 out as a precaution. Savacci is expected to race this weekend and be on top form. Speaking of Triumph Racing, Jalek Swole failed to finish the second moto with a bike problem, which was triggered by a sensor issue. Jumping across to MXGP now, Rowan van der Moostijk has joined his third team in 2024. Moostijk started with Fantic Factory Racing, moved across to Team HRC, and is now on the Kozak KTM team. Kozak KTM compete in the German National Championship, that being the ADAC, and select rounds of the FIM Motocross World Championship. That is the exact program that Moostijk will follow, citing the fact that he needs to build himself back up instead of taking a fill-in ride somewhere like Yamaha and jumping into the deep end. There is currently no confirmation on when Moostijk will return to MXGP, but when he does, he will be expected to make an impression. MXGP ran their 12th round in Indonesia this past weekend. Jeffrey Hurlings went 1-1 on Sunday and won the qualifying race to almost kickstart his 2024 campaign. Better late than never. Hurlings is certainly not out of this title fight, but Tim Geiser really established himself as the clear favourite this past weekend, gaining a lot of ground on second place Jorge Prado, who missed the podium in an uncharacteristic showing. Geiser is 34 points clear of Prado, with Hurlings 17 further back. 8 rounds remain. Some slightly unexpected news now. Doug Henry will be racing a Stark Varg at the World Vets in the United Kingdom towards the end of July. The event will be run at Farley Castle, and Henry will race internationally for the first time in quite a while. Not many people would have had a Doug Henry Stark Varg partnership on their bingo card, but Stark are clearly adamant that they want to make an impression in the areas that they can, currently restricted to these one-off events like the World Vets, but signing someone of Doug Henry's stature will certainly gain them notoriety. Stark also experienced success at the X Games recently. More off-the-track news now. Mike Bonacci of the Club MX team has put his best foot forward when it comes to supporting Team USA for the 2024 Motocross of Nations. Working with Paul Perebinos at Raise It for USA, Bonacci collected various items from top riders in the American paddock, and those will be raffled off on raiseitforusa.com. The number 4, not the word. Tickets are $5 and you have a chance to win some really, really cool stuff. All proceeds go to Team USA for the 2024 Motocross of Nations, so it is certainly worth checking out. Speaking of Team USA, do not expect that to be announced until either the final Pro Motocross round or the first SMX playoff in Charlotte. What lies ahead this weekend? Well, Pro Motocross will continue on at Millville. That'll be round 7 of 11. The series is really moving quite quickly now. Chase Sexton, of course, controls the 450 MX points, but he only has a slender lead over Hunter Lawrence, who admitted to being quite banged up in the second moto at Redbud after that really hard crash in Moto 1. Expect Hunter to be back to his best form, getting great starts once again and putting the pressure on Sexton. But there is no doubt that Chase is the favourite as we race towards a conclusion in Pro Motocross and no MXGP, the Grand Prix contingent of flying back from Indonesia. There is always a weekend off after these flyaway events as people need time to get acclimatised. That series will resume next weekend at Lockett in the Czech Republic. That has been another episode of The Hub on Vital MX. Again, not so much breaking news this week. That all came last week in an especially busy episode, but still plenty going on, plenty to share. So hopefully you found this episode as informative as always. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.